Yeah, it'd show up eventually. Alrighty. So, who is ready to see what happens when we choose our favorite time? I don't personally have a favorite time, so I'm just gonna go with the funny number. Because who doesn't. Excuse yourself. Okay, who doesn't love a funny number, right? Alright, let's see what it says. Ah, 4:20 p.m. Your favorite time of day. Or could you simply not resist giving me the correct time again? After all, I know how much you enjoy setting the time correctly. It's not the correct time. The correct time would be 12:05. 12:05. Yeah. Okay, now I'm curious how accurate 4:20 p.m. is. Let's use another slider to find out. How accurate is 4:20 p.m.? Completely inaccurate. Yeah. Can I just say, regardless of the accuracy of the clock, I'm having a great time adjusting these settings. Me too, man. Feel like I'm learning more about you and how you like things to be set. It's good to collect data. Kind of terrifying. I wish we had more sliders, but we've gone through all the sliders I have. Hmm. Perhaps I can invent some new sliders to gather new data on you. Shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, let me whip up a couple new ones. Should be ready by the next time you boot up the game. Oh shit. Nice. We can get more sliders. Alright. But first, I want to do this. I want to mess with all the settings to get the setting achievement. And since we've already gone through these, we don't have to go slowly with them, huh? I just want to make sure that it's getting them all. Alright, and then we'll put it back to normal. I want that achievement. So how y'all doing today while we go through this? Y'all been having a good Saturday? Mine's been pretty good. I got up, I went to Starbucks because I'm a basic ass bitch. I got an apple crisp macchiato. Those things are fucking delicious. They're so addicting. Oh my god. If you like apple pie, the fucking thing tastes like a caramel apple pie. It's so good. And then we walked home. And, well, my dad's house because we're house sitting currently. Fed the dogs. My dad's got the cutest dog. He's a lab mix. I have no idea what he's mixed with. Um, but he's fucking adorable. Like, this dog is so cute. He's got these, like, ears that stick up. And when he's concerned, they stick flat out to the sides. And then this fucking dog, he's huge, right? He's a lab mix, and he I think 80 is what it was on. He'll beg you to pick him up. So like I'm sitting in my dad's recliner, and this fucking dog comes up to me and like pushes his head against me and like puts his front paws on my lap, and he's like, pick me up, damn it. So I have to pick up this big ass dog because I'm a sucker for a cute face and he's adorable. So I pick up this giant ass dog and put him in my lap, and he's so happy. He's the happiest fucking dog. And he's just chillaxing in my lap. He's got his face, he's rubbing it on my face. His tail's wagging all crazy. Oh, the dog's great. And Audrey, of course, is getting jealous because she's a tiny chihuahua and she gets jealous super easily. And she bullies him. This dog is like 4 times her size and she fucking bullies the hell out of him. Like, he'll try and come up and sit on the couch next to her, and she'll fucking bark at him and make him get off the couch. Like, I've told her she needs to be nice, and she doesn't care. She doesn't want him near her. She doesn't want anything to do with him. Oh, poor guy. He just wants to sit, He just wants to hang out. And she's just, nope. You can't come near me. You can't come near my owner. Thankfully, she's not, like, super mean. Like, she doesn't try and bite him or anything. She's just very loud. And he's like, it's loud and small. I don't know what to do with this. So he just runs away. Oh, poor Busa. That's what I call him. His name's Zeus, but I call him Zeusabusa. He's just a big baby. Just the biggest fucking baby you've ever seen in your life. He's a good boy. I can't wait to have a big dog again. I love Audrey, obviously. She's my cuddle buddy. But, I love having a big dog around. They're just so dorky. And they're the dopiest little things. There's this dog, in the local rescue that, his name's Bruno. And he's
This is the story of a man.
He's a mastiff.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Narrator.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
He's just got the cutest droopy little face you've ever seen. Of course, it's not really little because he's a mastiff, but it's just so adorable. And he's got anxiety, so he has this fear response where he'll just pee everywhere. I'm like, oh, that's not cute, but like I already deal with a dog that has a fear response.
This
like,
is the story
Audrey
of
already
a man
has
named Stanley.
This that kind of thing going on. When we first got her, it was really bad. Anytime anyone would come to the door, we took her to the vet, and it was just, she would just immediately poop. Like that was her fear response. And she was just so nervous and so little. Like, she's naturally little because she's a chihuahua, but she was tinier then because she was malnutritioned. She's like, oh, this poor baby. So like, I already have experience with that kind of thing, and I don't really mind cleaning up dog messes. Like, you have a dog, you're gonna clean up their messes. It's like having a kid. Like, you can't really have a kid and expect that child to be clean 24/7, you know, especially a baby. And that's basically what dogs are. Dogs are just babies. They're babies and forever toddlers. And so, like, yeah, there's gonna be messes, and you just have to accept it, you know? And if I had a yard right now, a big enough yard, I would totally take Bruno. Because it's the cutest little face. Oh. Oh my god, there are way too many fucking settings here. I'm done setting the settings. Can I just have the achievement? Wait, did I just get the achievement? No, come back. I didn't see if I got it or not. Show me. I'm gonna go to Steam real quick, see if I got it. Because something popped up, but I didn't see it in time. Aw, yeah. Setting world champion. Sweet. So I guess you don't have to set all the settings. Just like most of them. Or like a good number of them, I guess. Alrighty, now we can get back into the game. Now that I fucked around too much with the settings. Talked about dogs for 20 minutes. I love dogs. I mean, I love all animals. If I could, I would like...
This is the story of a man named
literally own a zoo.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Oh,
Stanley
no,
decided
not
to
my
go to the meeting
coworkers.
room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Coworkers? Where are you? Can I turn this off? Yeah, there we go. Is there another one around here I could turn off? I don't think so. I think that was the only one in that room. And there should be one here. That feels new. I don't feel like that was there before. Bucket, it's my bucket. I don't think I'm going to take the bucket this time. I think I'm going to... These fucking balloons.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Oh, well. Does that say fuck? Cup say fuck? No, it says fuel. Be my Valentine. I don't wanna. I hate Mondays.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Door on my left. Whoa, that freaked me out. It got too close. Mission status. Inside of a sequel exhibit, a large room, lots of boxes. Oh. Large room, lots of boxes. Stairs, something to do with stairs. Somewhere both red and blue. Some kind of game? There must be a point to this. Gotta collect them all. There will be a reward for finding them all. Lies. Who are you? There will be cleaning of this wall required. I want to go home. I want them so much. Stop kidding yourselves. Dang. Shit's heating up in the Stanley fandom. Oh, actually, let me change that setting real quick. It's kind of bugging me. Yeah, I want subtitles, but I didn't want... I think that's the thing that I wanted to change. Okay.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Going up the stairs. Boop, 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 boop. I already got the Stanley in here. Yeah, there's no Stanley in here. Somewhere red and blue. Where is that at?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret
Tell me, because I forgot.
number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
4, 5.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Pushing all the buttons. Wonder if the place that's red and blue is
Descending deeper into the
where
building,
we go through
Stanley realized he felt a bit
for the
peculiar.
ending.
It was a stirring of emotion in his
It's
chest,
got a lot of red and
as though
blue
he
in
felt
it.
more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Okay, in there, but I kind of want to go this way to escape.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Oh no. Not my violent death.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
I don't want to.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Stanley's all about confronting death. Ready, Stanley? I am Stanley. I talk to Stanley. That's just life. Now let's do that, but with a bucket. Oh shit. I'm not dead.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision
Bitch,
of
I
what
can't
this
see
world
nothing.
is. Perhaps
Dark
his
as
death
fuck
was
in
of
here.
no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
No, I don't feel like that's what happened.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Is this the narrator's narrator? Oh my god, it's my whole office. Look, Stanley, it's our office. Nah, I can't fit back there. It's Stanley's computer. Notably, no off button on Stanley's computer. Just something to think about. These ones, off button. Stanley's computer, no off button. See? Turn those off. Can't turn off Stanley's though. Button sounds. A selection of the sounds used through the game when buttons are pressed. Each sound is a mix of a keyboard stroke and a synthesized tone. Neat. Oh, these are credits? Yeah, credits. Office clock. Oh, different versions of the boss's office. Check that out. Or like building of the boss's office. Like whole Stanley Museum.
For the player to do anything in this room. Perfect example of poor level design. Textbook mistake. It's the kind of thing you'd pick up on intuitively if you had even the most fundamental understanding of good and bad game design. But of course, you being you, you'll probably spend the next hour trying to solve it. Here, I'm just going to make this easy on you. Stanley jumped in the river. When Stanley came to the lift, at the top of the facility to end this injustice forever. Stanley stood on the snow.
Narration outtakes. Kevin Brighton,
Then he pushed the number 4.
the voice of the narrator, recorded dialogue for the entire game roughly 3 separate times over the 2 years of development. These are clips from early takes that were not used in the final game.
Still nothing? I don't know. Well, in that...
I wonder how the narrator feels about being narrated. You know, you think you can narrate my life, but your life's being narrated too, my dude. The fuck do you feel about that shit, huh? Oh, can I not push the button? Let me try one more time. Oh, it's green this time. I'm not sure what triggers it to oh, it's red. Yeah, I'm not sure. Countdown desk. One of the desks from an early version of the countdown. Monitor room elevator. Countdown room. That room. So much to see here. What's that? Oh, it's a telephone. What's it counting down to? Is it gonna ring? Apartment timer. Cargo lift. Apartment timer. In a previous version of the choice leading to the apartment ending, a timer would give you 15 seconds to pick up the phone. Not picking up the phone would lead to a different ending. Ah. What's this? Zending model. Ah, fun. The Zending went through many iterations. This room represents the fourth version of the ending, and we thought it was complete, but decided to abandon it and change it again shortly before launch. Zending. Can I pull these? Can I pull it? Zending levers. Trailers. We ran 4 major tester trailers over the course of the game's development, each meant to convey something about the spirit of the game. This is the first one, released on May 2012. It features a series of broken rooms and the voice of the narrator informing viewers that he is repairing a new version of the Stanley Parable. But I can't hear him. Excuse me. Hello? Alright. What else we got around here? That's that room. Already been there. Already been through there. What's this? Oh, meeting room. One option. 2 options. Confusion ending. The other entrance would be hidden depending on how you entered. Huh. And vent. Maintenance. Okay, let's see. I've gone through here. Go up here. Yeah. And then this way. Oh, these are just offices. This is my office. Stanley's office. There's like different versions of my office. Yeah. Okay, what else we got?
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Oop. I guess I chose the other choice, didn't I? I didn't want to quit. Now what? Oh, now we're back here.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No
Well,
matter
Stanley
how
decided
hard
to
Stanley
touch
looked,
everything in the
he
office
couldn't find
again.
a trace of his co-workers.
Stanley likes touching things. There we go. Hey, where's... My other inputs aren't in here. Where'd my other inputs go? Rude. Taking this
Stanley
bucket.
lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest.
Me and you,
and
bucket.
entered the door.
We're gonna
on
go
his
do
left.
an escape. And we gotta find all the Stanleys too. Look at him. Bottom text. Ow, let me in! Bastards.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Yep, here we go. Come on, Bucket. It's just you and Stanley, Bucket.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned
Alright, what was
to
it?
discover not an indication of any
that's not
human
it.
life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an
2,
emotional
8,
dumpster fire, if not for the
4,
soothing
5.
presence of the bucket. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
It's true. The Bucket knows everything. Bucket holds all the secrets.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Yeah, me and my bucket.
Stanley and the bucket walked
Bucket,
straight ahead
bucket,
through the large door that
bucket.
read Mind Control Facility. Although
Nope.
this passageway had the word escape written on it, the
We're
truth
going this
was
way.
that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
Not my
The
bucket.
door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket
Stanley's
still
bucket.
had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
No.
At
Stanley
this
and
point,
Bucket are going
Stanley
straight
and the
forward.
bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Stanley and Bucket are going for it. Freedom!
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket. But what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere.
Why would I do
Farewell,
that?
Stanley.
Me and Bucket are doing great.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end as it was crushed violently to death.
Just the bucket? What about Stanley? Stanley's life not matter? Some
It
bullshit.
was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
Oh, this is different. Now we get to learn all about Bucket. Welcomes you to the grand exhibit. You're standing at the precipice of knowledge. Much like a bucket itself, the human mind is frequently empty within, a cavernous void, but through use of the exhibit in front of you, the mind becomes full and enriched and substantiated. Knowledge of the bucket and its history is the only true knowledge we really have. Will you take what you learn here out with you into the world? Will you accept with an open mind what may be challenging about the information in this exhibit? Will you change the lives of yourself and your loved ones as a result of this exhibit? Or will you turn a blind eye and continue to live as you were in ignorance and darkness? Oh, why am I yawning so much today? That's a chair. What's this?
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
Oh, I can crouch. That's a lot of buckets. $25 buckets. I feel like that's more than 25 buckets. A photograph of 25 buckets, the greatest number of buckets ever captured on camera. The photographer experienced when I'm reading. For some reason, I just can't read today. My body doesn't want it. Ever captured on camera. The photographer experienced catatonic shock for several weeks as a result of the euphoria from exposure to this many buckets at once. I feel like that's more than 25 buckets. Maybe they mean like at least 25 buckets, you know? A bucket with two handles. This bucket is depicted as having two handles. Such a design has never been created in real life, having been deemed too dangerous and recklessly experimental. Every year, dozens are put to death just for attempting it. Oh no. That's not good. Why are you killing people for wanting a bucket with two handles? This is the original bucket. Inferno bucket. A replica of the Inferno bucket, which is a medieval era in the medieval era was so powerfully alluring that drove dozens of nations to war with one another for control of it. Billions died, and yet in spite of it all, the simple fact remains: no one can control a bucket. The stress bucket. An analogy. The stress bucket, presented without commentary. Worrying, negative forecasting, negative thinking, lack of reassurance. Vulnerability equals the size and strength of the bucket. Coping strategies equals holes. Rest and relaxation, doing something you enjoy. Rest and relaxation. Stress equals the level of water in the bucket. Oh my god. Cave drawing. While we know that buckets predate the existence of mankind, we do not know by how long this cave drawing depicts early man's discovery of the practical uses of the bucket, by which time the bucket had already likely been around for several millennia. I might have to pause for a second, grab an energy drink, see if that helps with this fucking yawning. Y'all just take in this cave painting. This is straight up history. Alright, I'm back. Did you enjoy the bucket? The ancient lore of when we first discovered buckets? Oh, it's getting X-rated in here. Opening my only can. Alright, let's see if that helps anything in my fucking yawning. What's this? Can I go in here? No, they blocked me off! Those bastards.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a
Where is
bucket
my
as
bucket?
dazzling
Hey,
to behold as
hey.
this one.
Where's
It is
Stanley's
man
bucket?
who should kneel before the bucket.
Where's Stanley's bucket? Stanley demands his bucket. The hanging bucket. This piece symbolizes the necessary relationship between bucket and humanity. However clear our grasp of the bucket may be, there's yet more that is always out of reach. This distance inevitably is for our own good. No, you give me that bucket. Give me the bucket. Yeah.
But there
Stanley has
is
his
something we
bucket.
can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will
Is it
right
juggling?
this terrible wrong.
Juggle our cares away.
Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision for...
let's see what happens.
All of his co-workers were gone.
If
What could it mean?
I
Stanley decided to go to the
do
meeting
quit
room.
the game.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
And come back in. See if anything changes. And then we'll do it with the bucket. That actually might reset when I quit the game. We'll have to test that theory when we quit. See if it comes back blank.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Yeah, Stanley's way ahead of you, buddy. Stanley's got this shit. Trust the completionist instinct. Marijuana. Why wouldn't they just tell us something will happen? This investigation, this room, they feel pointless, TBH. Agenda. How can you tell you've spotted one? What makes them float in the air? Who took these pictures? Follow clues provided by employee 416. We can do it. Red room? Thank you. Good luck. Alright. To do. Find the Stanleys.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Way ahead of you, bud.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Relax. No! 2, 8, 4, 5. Let's go! You know how many times we've done this?
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated,
Let's go!
Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Thank you. It's bad enough this elevator takes fucking forever. You know, gotta try and fucking make me relax with New Age fucking music.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Stanley's gonna escape.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Also, what was that? Just a chair? No. I think it was a
The
pipe.
door behind
It
him
ran
was not
into.
shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
What if I do turn around? What if I, start walking back? Does he say anything?
But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for. Nope,
JK.
still on board with death.
Hold on. What if we go back through the door? Anything? See, no, these doors will close when I go through them. Okay. Nothing? You got nothing else to say? Fine. I'll just die then. Oh, excuse me. I'm on Monster
At this
Peachy
point,
Keen.
Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Stanley's all about confronting death. Peachy Keen. Tastes like peach rings. Like straight up melted peach rings. It's fucking delicious. Monster sponsor me.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his
Stanley
narrow
literally
vision of
can't
what this world is.
see
Perhaps his
anything.
death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he
That
resigned
feels
and willingly accepted this violent end to
ableist.
his brief and
That's the word.
shallow life.
Feels
Farewell,
ableist.
Stanley.
Can't just take people's eyeballs.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single
Why can't they
visceral
call 'em
instant,
jaws?
Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Could be something like bird mouth. You know?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly
excuse me.
did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
You think? I don't know if that's how that works. I guess it's a fizzle up. Fucking A. What is that word? I can't think of what the word is. But you know. Thinking on ideas and stuff. What you believe in, that kind of thing. Because, like, even if it is like
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can
Even
you
if I
see?
don't
Can you
actually
see
have
how
a
much they
choice.
need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
Isn't living just worth it most of the time?
But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you...
This is the story.
I don't think that did anything.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Yeah, see, it's not here now. So definitely not.
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
You gotta go through
Stanley
a
clutched the
round
bucket
for it to
tightly
appear, I
to his...
guess.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley
Your
had
meeting
felt the
room.
bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
It's true.
And here it
Look at
was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the
was.
meeting room? Yes,
Yes.
Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. Truly, being here with the bucket was a grand adventure. Stanley
Are you
reflected
not
on
having fun?
all they'd been through together. First,
It's not
walking
fun for
through
you?
the door on the right, then walking to the lounge, then arriving at the lounge. What a thrilling journey the bucket had inspired.
Truly. A time of my
Perhaps
life.
this was where the bucket felt most truly at home, here in the employee lounge. Perhaps it's the only place a bucket can even feel at home.
Crouch, crouch, crouch. Crouch, 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 crouch.
Stanley decided to just give the bucket absolutely as much time as it needed to be in the lounge. Clearly, the
Honestly,
bucket
it's
and
the
the
best
employee
choice.
lounge shared a special connection.
Yeah, just let the bucket enjoy it. Like, maybe the bucket wants to sit down, relax for a bit. You know? Stanley's letting the bucket live its full life, okay? Is that it? You don't got nothing else to say?
But finally, the bucket
No!
was done being in the lounge, and they took the first open door on their left to get back to business.
No, I don't think I'm gonna do that. I'm not coming here.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
I heard it. The bucket definitely said that.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name
I like
better encapsulates the
Stanlerines.
intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by one? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me. But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on it. This was not the correct way to the
Because I
meeting
haven't
room,
actually gone
and
into the
Stanley
door
knew it
on the
perfectly
left.
well. Perhaps he wanted to
So-
stop by the employee lounge first, just to
We're gonna
admire
go through
it.
the lounge.
Wow. Yes.
Wow.
This room.
Such a good room. Okay.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left,
Yep, let's go.
and so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
I don't think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna go here. What's this do? Yeah. Here we are. Woo! Load
But Stanley
area.
didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now, in order to get back, he needed to go,
Where do we need to go,
from
narrator?
here, it's, left.
I think you're lying. Or you just don't know. Oh, I don't even have a choice in the matter now.
Oh, no.
Oh.
No, it's to the right. My mistake.
You close this fucking door. I swear to fuck.
Not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What
I don't know.
was I thinking?
You're
It's
supposed to
clearly-
know.
Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
I don't want to. I want to go through a door.
Well, let's see. We went down, right, left, down, left, right. Yep.
Let me
Okay,
through.
okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is
Do you?
absolutely, definitely this way.
Oh, this way. That's not even left or right. What's this? A truck? Just the front half of a truck? What's it? Oh, God. What is this? The boiler room? Giving me some fucking Freddy Krueger vibes.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes.
No.
Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
No, I'm definitely taking the bucket with me on here. Yeah.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
See what happens with the bucket.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Now, Stanley wants to touch things. Where's my bucket? Where's my reassurance bucket? There's no balloons either. Did you like fully reset my fucking game, my dude? What the hell? I want my bucket! Oh,
When
you
Stan-
broke it.
Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over.
No, you
completely
fucking
fresh.
broke it.
Everything should be... Oh, did
No, you
something
broke it.
change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was
Yeah, so
right
why
here
don't you
just a
know?
minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Alright. Story! Story, are you in here? Story? Hello? Story? What the fuck? Okay,
I'll
hold
say
on.
it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find
Maybe.
it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Okay. Let's go. You better bring my fucking bucket
All
back.
of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
I miss bucket.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Where's my bucket? It's bullshit. You've restarted the entire game, now bucket's gone. There's weird ass doors everywhere. Oh, now there's
Okay,
no doors.
It's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we
Maybe.
go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
I don't think we did. There's not even a bucket. What's that? Spilled coffee. And this cup still hates Mondays. Can I go through this door? If I put in 420 enough, can I go through that door?
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes.
I don't think this is the story, my guy. That clock doesn't even have hands. So, I think you fucked up.
No,
yeah,
wait,
see?
never mind.
It's just a
Not the
wall.
story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Yeah, let's retrace our steps. It's probably going to be another... Yeah, see? What is this now? Now where are we?
Now this...
You've broken
Well,
it.
I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the
Because
story?
you broke it.
I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember,
What?
Stanley?
No,
Well,
Stanley
you know
doesn't
what?
remember anything.
Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this?
You
You
gonna restart
win!
again?
Congratulations!
Oh, shit! Yeah!
I know you put in
Stanley
a lot of hard work, and it really paid
wins!
off. So, good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Oh my god. Oh, okay. We're restarting. Once again. Okay. Let's go. The Stanley Parable. It's that way. Alright. Let's go. And here we go. Playing the Stanley Parable. Breaking shit is what I'm doing. Alright.
All right,
Stanley
I've got a
Parable.
solution. This
Adventure
time,
line.
to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
I can't just follow the line, my guy. Sorry. Also, I feel like the line is broken. The line's broken. This guy's playing fucking solitaire. And I can't turn off the computer. Okay, oh. No, see, the line's broken. I don't think we're supposed to be going this way.
You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in
Does
this
it?
direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, Are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very
Okay, I
manifestation
can't follow
of
that
the
line,
nature
my
of
dude.
life itself?
Like,
Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this
you
train
want me to
of thought
fucking
for a minute.
parkour
Just
off this
stick with me.
goddamn wall?
Now, we
Hello?
can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right?
Seriously.
Okay. Now,
How-
if my experience of your
How the
existence
fuck?
rests inside of your
I
subjective
can't follow this
experience
line,
of
my
this
dude.
office, is this office in fact the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental
Wait.
subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
I think you need to get in control of this adventure line. It's out of control, my guy. I can't even. No, I can't do that. Parkour. Monthly ledgers, corporate imbalances, financial records. Is this exciting? Consolidation reports. Departmental accounts. I've lost my shit. Financial records. What the fuck? I can't. Seriously. This
Cut the music.
line.
Go back and look at that fern.
Oh, is it a good fern? Did I miss it? Oh.
Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure
yeah?
you study it closely and
Okay.
remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Okay. I'm doing a quick sketch. Stanley needs a paper and a pencil. We're going to sketch this fern in every detail. Make sure we don't miss a thing about it. Okay. Are you ready? Back on the line? Woo! On the line.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No.
Back in the fucking
You do
building?
know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
I told you that line was fucky.
Still missing the doors. Did we make a mistake following the line? Perhaps we could have found the story on our own.
I mean, it's not that way. Oh, we could see where the... Well, I can't follow the line there. Or can I? Open the door! Oh, wait, did we already go through there? We might have already gone through there. This way, maybe?
Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Well, I can't take this
Betrayed
anymore.
us, Line!
Restart.
Told you. Told you about that line. Told you it wasn't too good. Now what are we doing? Fucking with this line again?
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent
exactly.
people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Alright. What do you think is
Now,
over here?
Yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it
Something
might be, Stanley.
adventurous.
I'm ready for it.
That would be fun, huh? Maybe like a dragon? Get a dragon in here?
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Alright, ignoring the line. I think the line knows. Alright. We're past the line? Maybe. I don't know.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here,
Do
the
we?
story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has
Right?
to lead
That line, I told
which
you.
means that somewhere
fuck up
the
our
place
life.
where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Okay, but what's this line? What's this line? Is this our logic? Circle logic? Does this do anything? Is doing anything for you, narrator? No? Okay.
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it.
Hey, I don't think we had a
And the
choice.
timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen?
Both the doors led to the same room.
So,
There was no choice.
okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the
I don't
destination.
like this story.
So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
Ah! I think it forced you to restart, my guy. What's that? That's not my office. What's this? This isn't my office.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Oh, the bucket's
Perhaps
back.
he had... Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Alright, so we just need stairs and somewhere both blue and red. Get to Stanley's. I wonder if it's here. I wonder
Coming
if
to
we
a
go down.
staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Yeah!
You're getting
There he
close now,
is!
Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler Anmarines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one.
And then
Hell
the
yeah, it
first
will.
number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that
It's
we
true.
used to have none of them. And now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler and Lorines. None of us can.
I love the Stanlerines.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then, something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized,
My
this
bucket.
isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh,
What?
gracious, he exclaimed.
What?
Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley!
Bucket!
Stanley, it's me!
Where are you, Bucket?
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one
Bucket!
bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley. Find me.
I'm
He had to find the
trying.
bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way
Bucket!
to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley
Bucket!
toppled over in agony and blacked out.
Oh no.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Mariella?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away,
Oh,
she
shit.
knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator
Stanley was
describing all of his
bucketless.
actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
Damn, Mariella. That's pretty badass.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Hold on. I have no idea if we're back in, like, the real game.
When Stanley
Are we
came to a
still
set
in
of
the-
2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Are we still in the confusion ending, just looping?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Maybe I should have taken the bucket with me this time.
The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No, I don't think I will.
Stanley was
other
so
things
bad
to
at
do.
following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
No,
I'm
we're
not
good.
your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
I don't think
Please,
so.
stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Her.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Quiet. There is no her. You're lying to me, narrator.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone. As Stanley picked up the phone, a white light engulfed him, filling him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one... Wait. Oh, goodness. Stanley, did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly. I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
I don't want to.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
My goodness. Is
Excellent.
it worth...
Making choices on a regular
Excuse
basis is the best part to a
wasn't done
healthy
practicing.
decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Are you getting back on here?
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine
Aww.
the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would
Lame.
make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Aw, that side doesn't open. Come on, I want to go back. I don't want to deal with reality. Where are we going? Hello? I want to go back.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world. Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Nope.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
No, I don't want to go to the left. You go to the left. Damn it. I don't want to go to the left.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why?
It's okay.
For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
This didn't make it any better. I would say this is significantly worse.
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You, who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make... behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task.
Open the doors.
Just follow my lead and you'll be fine.
Open them.
All right.
Open the
When
doors.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Nope. Oh, damn. It's fucked up in there. You should get that fixed.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I don't know if this actually does anything, if I should still be going over here.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine.
Alright, maybe we should go to the left. See if that does anything else.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Alright. I'm going to the door on my left.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Aww.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Well, I guess, since you're not giving me a fucking choice. Lame. Oh, this is
Stepping
different.
inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code. Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Night Shark
I'm sorry, is there a
115.
problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise, we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
I don't think Stanley can speak.
Okay, fine. You're not going to do it. But you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You... When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Alright, I gotta BRB real quick. I gotta use the bathroom.
Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me?
Oh, you're done with the stream?
Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need.
Alright, I am back. Let us continue with Stanley. Yeah, take
All
the
of his
bucket with me this
co-workers were-
time.
Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
It is. This is the right one. This is the right office. Hey, buckets here and everything.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Nope.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the
Ah, fuck, I
employee
forgot the
lounge
bucket.
first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Her?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To
Yeah, I
let
guess we
her
can do
back
this one.
into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach
Pick
out
up the
to
phone,
her.
Stanley.
If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
I can't. Oh, there we go. I got it. I picked up the phone.
that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. Sorry, but you're in my story now.
No!
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Yeah, what happens if I don't push the buttons? Then what are you gonna do? What if I just sit here? Hmm? Okay.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Rude.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it. You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And
And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. Let's take the bucket with us this time.
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started. And if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
You should always just take the bucket with us. I just forgot last time. Because I have the fucking
Stanley
brain
picked up the
cells
bucket
of
and
a hamster.
smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
It's true.
And here
Look
it
at it.
was. Had the bucket
Beautiful.
turned out to be correct?
All right, let's go.
Was it? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took
The
the door on
bucket's
his left
never
to go
wrong.
back to the meeting room.
How dare you?
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why, but Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
It's a proper death. Yeah.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Oh, we're here
What could
again.
it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps
Come on,
the
bucket.
good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on and Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
It's true.
And
Look at
here it was. Had
Beautiful.
the bucket turned out to be correct? Was it? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have
why
alarmed
would
him,
we
of course,
question
because
Bucket?
buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
All right.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone and it...
Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke.
Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket.
Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it. But there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right here. Let's take a look.
All right. Let's watch the video.
What is
Oh
comedic
yeah.
timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work?
Yeah, I don't know.
How long should
I
it
don't know.
last?
I don't
How
know.
can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies?
I
And
don't
more
know.
importantly, Can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds?
I don't
Thankfully,
know.
the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's
Oh,
dive deeper.
nice.
If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
I'm Dunny with the funny. I'm Dunny with the
Good.
funny.
This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all,
Never.
with each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence, and to very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be
Bullets and
prepared to give our
mandibles.
lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Not if everyone's fucking dying.
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
All right. Oh, no, you put the cage up again. I don't want to go in the cage. This is
I can
dumb.
feel it. This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery.
I want
You'll be in
out.
stitches. A
Let
talking
me
bucket,
out.
you'll say. How ridiculous.
I don't
How
wanna
absurd.
be
What a
in this
hilarious
cage.
concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional
Probably not.
video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke
I'm not
to
calling you the
Stanley.
king of comedy.
The bucket spoke.
The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
So you think he'll get the comedic timing right? Think he's gonna bungle it up again? What if I go through the other
Here we
door?
go.
Then what?
You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left. No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even
No, I
look at
didn't
the
want to.
instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now
Hey,
on.
you need
all
to open
because
this door.
you couldn't watch a simple video and take
Yeah.
a hint. Are you
You
proud of
open the
yourself
door.
for bringing me down, Stanley?
I
Are
am.
you
Now open the door. This is
Here
bullshit.
we go. You ready?
When
No.
Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left. No, 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 no. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back. Here we go. You ready? When
Okay.
Stanley and the bucket
It's just
came
gonna
to a
loop,
set
so
of
we should
2
go
open
through
doors, they
the
entered
door on the right, I
left.
guess. Alright. Are you happy now? I went through... What the fuck is this? You take a shortcut?
We're back at the phone already? No, no, no. What's going on? There were supposed to be several rooms leading up to this.
And
There
it's
was supposed to
unplugged.
be a build-up to this point. A dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates
Yeah,
in
what did
this
you do?
scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land. Well, not the way it was meant to. And it's all my
Broke it.
fault. I must have
It
forgotten
is.
that the phone room comes immediately after the 2 doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again.
Are we watching another video?
Surely that will help me improve my...
Sweet.
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes. Well, let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not?
Stanley doesn't even have a
Is it
bucket.
delivery?
I have the
Pale with
bucket.
shame. Pale with shame?
Who are you
Pale-
talking to?
What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal. I think I saw it playing guitar.
It's not Stanley.
No.
He doesn't have a bucket.
No. We're getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional videos.
Are we watching more videos?
Let's see.
Sweet.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
They're
Stanley
fucking
decided to go to the meeting room.
gone.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I don't even know what the point of turning these off is anymore. It's just become habit at this point. Grabbing my
Where are
bucket.
we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfectly fine with him.
Duh. Every day with Bucket is the best day ever. Let's go, Bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest, and this was not the correct way to the meeting room. But
We're not
Stanley
going to the
had felt
meeting room.
the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
It's true.
And here it was.
Look
Had
at
the
it.
bucket turned out to be correct?
Beautiful.
Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
You know, that does sound super suspicious. What if I don't go into the room?
Now pick up the phone.
Then what? Hmm?
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
But the bucket could speak to me. I heard it. We heard the bucket speak. See? There's my bucket. Yeah,
The
let's go to
Stanley Parable
let's go to
Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
Hey, bucket. Hold on, bucket.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To
Where's
see
my
him
bucket?
delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say
Where's my
something
bucket?
to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Oh, do you like jazz? Where's my bucket? Oh, there's my bucket.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's
Hey.
it. It doesn't do anything
It could transfer
else.
like solids, like a dirt. You leave bucket alone.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took
Where's my
orders
bucket?
from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. His stupid hunk of metal. It's sad. I suppose he doesn't need me anymore.
Nope,
From
we
now
got
on,
bucket.
he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
See? I do believe you're a real bucket. It's just me and you.
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like
It's
it would
true.
be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
You're not taking my bucket.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel
It's my
so need
bucket.
to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
It's my bucket.
Oh no, I'm having feelings for the bucket.
Back off
Oh,
my
no,
bucket.
No, 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 no. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it
You're never
asks.
gonna take
What's
my
wrong
bucket
with
away
I
from
don't
me.
understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing.
No.
Yes. The
Where's my
could
bucket?
Tell me what to do in this troublesome situation.
Bucket. Bucket. I can't see. Where's my bucket? Oh, bucket. There you are.
Stanley, give me the
No.
bucket. Give it to me. Give me the
No.
bucket, Stanley. I
Where's
need
my
it.
bucket?
Give it to me now. Give it, or I'll.
Is this the bucket? Bucket talking to me still? You'll never take my bucket.
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken.
Should we go back and check? Hold on, we're gonna double check, make sure the orders stop coming in.
No, the orders were still missing. For now.
Yeah, there are no more orders, see? Alright. Let's grab a bucket.
A strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Yeah, you're not gonna take my bucket. Nobody's ever gonna take your bucket. It's me and you forever, bucket.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office,
See if I
Stanley
can
was
remember
once
what the
again
code was.
stunned to discover not
Hold
an
on.
indication
Hold on.
of any human
No,
life.
come on.
Crushed by
Work
the
with me
weight of
here.
this
Stop
revelation,
drifting.
Stanley may have broken
2,
down into an
8,
emotional
4.
dumpster fire, if
Nope,
not for the
that wasn't
soothing
it.
presence of the bucket.
2,
Even now,
8,
in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's
4,
warmth and guiding light
5.
pierce, but Stanley guessed
There
the
we
correct
go.
code by sheer luck. Was it the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket...
Of course the bucket knew. Bucket knows everything.
This is certainly the most
Why would you
logical
ever question
explanation.
Bucket? Never question the bucket.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control
I want to
Facility.
see if this is where the last Stanley figurine is.
The lights rose on an enormous
Stanley
room packed
figurine.
with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered
go
to
back.
themselves.
It's been a while since we've been here, but I'm pretty sure that room is red and blue, so that would make sense.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in
And the other
shock.
ones haven't been super
Everyone
hard to find.
in the office was
so.
being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs.
Where's the
Bucket
last
had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears
The
as
last
Stanley cradled it gently,
figurine.
reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Stand figurine.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the
It's my
first place?
bucket.
These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
It's true. Yeah. Bucket's your only true friend.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Hell yeah, Bucket. I'm gonna fuck with some shit here real quick. Just so I can see a little bit better in this room. Let's see. I turn the brightness up. No, that's controls. It doesn't seem like I can turn the brightness up any. But I can't, like, tell how to get up there, if there is a way. Because I'm fucking blind. Like, it feels like there's a way to get up there. But I can't fucking see. Like, there's obviously stairs. Right? Like, how the fuck do I get up there? Alright, something we'll have to figure out, I guess. And I didn't see any Stanleys in here, which is really sad. I was really hoping there'd be one in here. Because other than that, we've already, like, done this.
When at last they came to the source of the room's power, but at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself?
We haven't done this.
How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control
That says
buttons
right there,
became
silly
active
birds.
again. Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a
look at
facade
owls.
to disguise its
owls.
true intentions. Had the bucket
Those
known
guys
this
are
all
cool.
along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his
Gross.
hands.
I
the
do
one
not
who
like
had
baby
pointed him
birds.
towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And
Oh
Stanley
wow, look at that bird.
was happy.
Hummingbirds. Oh, I wasn't done looking at birds. How dare you?
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
I don't think so. Hold on, I want to do that again, but without the bucket. Because I don't think I've done it without the bucket. I got
When Stanley
sidetracked doing
came
all
to
the
a
other
set of
things.
2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I don't think I pushed on. Somewhere both red and blue. No, it's not the mind control room.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked
I gotta find a place
upstairs
that's
to
both
his
red
boss's
and
office.
blue. Like, this place is red, but it's not red and blue.
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise.
Is that how you pronounce that? My villagers have been saying that for like, well, years actually at this point. Because I've been playing Animal Crossing New Horizons since 2020. But I didn't know that you pronounced surprise like that. I just thought
Stanley
they were
walked
saying
straight
one
ahead
French
through
word.
the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the
Did he?
strength to find out?
After all this time, Stanley's still thinking that same things? I don't think he is.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really
Push the
been
button.
under someone's control
button.
all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept
Hurry
it
up!
blindly?
Come on. This is where I need a skip button.
No.
I've done this
He
too many
refused
times.
to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable.
Never!
Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Probably.
But here was the proof. The heart of the
I'm
operation.
literally blind in this
Controls
fucking
labeled with emotions.
room. I
Happy
can't see
or
shit
sad
in here.
or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Oh, yeah? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why that got stuck in my head all of a sudden. If you haven't checked out Centaur World, it's a great fucking show. It's only like 2 seasons. Go watch it.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
Yeah.
Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More
Was there a
time
gate
to
there
talk
that whole
about
time?
you,
That's why I couldn't get
about
up there.
me, where we've
Motherfuckers. I've
what
been
all
trying to
this
do that shit
means.
forever.
I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated.
Nah, fuck them. I don't care.
All right, I'm in a good mood.
Fuck them
You're gonna
co-workers.
die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this
That's
version
not
of
good.
events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees.
The buttons not do
What's the
anything.
matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw
No,
that
I'm pushing
timer
buttons.
that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video
Oh, these
game
buttons
can be
not actually do
beaten?
anything?
One solved?
I'm
Do you
hella
have
disappointed
any
if that's
idea
true.
what your purpose in this place is?
Shut up. I'm not listening to you.
Stanley.
I want to touch the buttons.
You're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That
Button
timer isn't
time.
a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
Bouquet!
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is
Yeah,
that
we're
possible?
sure.
They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken.
They stopped this time. We're not going back. They're gone. Gone forever. Alright, let's take the bucket. Bucket, come with me.
The embrace of an old friend. A weathered companionship that stands the test of time.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket,
bucket was
turned
wrong.
out to be correct?
We got other
Well,
shit to do.
Never mind. The bucket was wrong.
See? Told you the bucket
Stanley
was
took
wrong.
the door on his left.
Let's go this
to
way.
Go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Nope, I didn't. Me and Bucket are going this way. Whee! It's bucket time. Me and this bucket are best
Good
friends.
Stanley, I'm glad you
Bucket,
found your
bucket,
way
bucket,
here.
bucket,
I knew
bucket,
you'd
bucket,
find this
bucket,
place
bucket,
eventually.
bucket time. What? What the fuck is
You
this?
see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together
What?
here because we care about you very much.
My friends?
It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket
Hey,
isn't
broom
even from
closet!
the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know
Nah, they
I'm the one
want
who gave you
bucket.
the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line?
Nah,
we could
fuck
make
that
the
line.
Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
I don't want to go with the Adventure Line. The Adventure Line never did nothing good. Also, I'm taking this bucket with me. So, what's this baby doing?
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Is this some adventure music? You know, I'm only doing this to
Now,
entertain you.
this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those
I'm
great
still keeping
jokes
my
from
bucket.
the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
No. Never. You can't make me.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket.
No.
That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer.
No.
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True,
It won't.
also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
No.
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say
Nope.
goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
No. It's my bucket.
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I
That
can hear
sucks.
you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if
It
you were
doesn't.
to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely
I'm
loaded
not-
with complexity and nuance
not
that it's
exploring
really
anything.
like 10 personality traits.
Let me out.
What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet?
Bucket.
Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't
No.
get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley.
No.
Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
What the fuck?
The Bucket Destroyer. My prized creation. You had so
There
much
we
potential.
go.
We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Goodbye, Bucket Destroyer. Hope to never see you again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
What could it mean?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Missing memos. That's just like Stanley, you know? He always misses memos.
The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps,
It
he
didn't.
would become both of those things. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Wait, I entered the wrong door. We gotta go back. I was supposed to enter the door on the right. I was too busy spinning. That's what
According
happens
to a
when you
staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fined for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre
My bucket.
hallucinations Stanley
I
might
feel like we've,
experience without the psychologically grounding
I
presence
feel
of
like
his
we've
bucket.
done this before.
Indeed. Now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating
Fucked us
off
up
the
into the
ground.
same timeline.
Oh, gracious, he exclaimed.
Oops.
Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him. Stanley! Stanley, it's me!
Bucket!
The bucket! Could it truly be?
Bucket, I'm
He
coming
rushed
for
forward
you.
from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket. Come to me, Stanley. Find me.
I'll
He had
find
to
you,
find the
Bucket!
He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real
Where?
bucket was inside of him all along.
Oh
It
my
was incredibly
god.
painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Yeah, can I skip this?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad.
A
Ranting
bucketless
and raving
man.
about a narrator describing
What is
all
a
of his
man
actions
without a
and how
bucket?
everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
It's pretty badass, Mariella. That's a lot of backflipping. Alright, what happens if I go that way,
All of his co-workers
but I
were
don't
gone.
have a bucket?
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Did we already do that? I don't remember if we did that already or not. We may
Coming
have.
to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why
Yeah,
did
what's up with
doors
that?
close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief
No, we haven't
Stanley
done this
felt
one yet.
to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke
That
to
makes
all
my brain
people in their
hurt.
dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal.
Stanley, you don't have a wife.
I am normal. Everything will be fine.
Nothing about this is normal.
I am okay.
No, you're not. We're not. Stanley, we're not okay.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
No. Shit, Stanley.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
That's Mariella
Mariella
again.
woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Aw, I like the other version of Mariella. The one who does backflips all the way to work. Alrighty, I think I'm going to end it here today. And I will see y'all next time. Bye!